If someone told you that three of the most powerful gut health foods on the planet are sitting in your grocery store right now, and that most people pick the wrong one, would you want to know which one actually wins? That is exactly what we are covering today. Kimchi, sauerkraut, yogurt. Three fermented foods, all of them widely recommended for gut health. All of them containing beneficial bacteria. All of them backed by science. But here is the thing that nobody tells you. They are not equal. They do not do the same things in the same amounts. And depending on what your specific health goals are after 50, whether you want to reduce inflammation, sharpen your brain, improve your immune response, or lose weight, the one you choose matters more than you think. As a physician who follows Dr. William Lai's research on the body's 5 health defense systems, I study the science behind how fermented foods interact with the gut microbiome and what that interaction means for your long-term health. And today, I'm going to walk you through a direct, science-based comparison of these 3 foods, what each one contains, what the research shows it does, who benefits most from each one, and the honest answer to which one comes out on top, and why the real answer might surprise you. Stay with me. Because there is also a 4th option at the end of this video that most people overlook entirely, and it may be the most powerful fermented food of all for adults over 50. Before we compare, let us make sure we understand what fermented foods are actually doing inside your body, because this context matters. Fermentation is one of the oldest food preservation techniques in human history. Every culture on Earth developed fermented foods independently. Kimchi in Korea, sauerkraut in Germany, yogurt across the Middle East and Central Asia, miso and natto in Japan, kefir in the Caucasus. For most of human history, these were not health foods. They were practical foods. Ways to preserve vegetables and dairy through long winters without refrigeration. But what those ancient cultures could not have known is that the fermentation process does something remarkable to food. It transforms it. The bacteria and yeasts responsible for fermentation break down sugars, produce organic acids, synthesize new vitamins, and generate bioactive compounds that did not exist in the original food. And many of those compounds have powerful effects on human health. Fermented foods can have enhanced nutritional and functional properties due to the transformation of substrates and the formation of bioactive or bioavailable end products. This is why fermented foods are not just foods. They are, in Dr. Lai's framework, tools for actively building and maintaining a healthy gut microbiome. And a healthy gut microbiome, as we covered in the microbiome video, is the foundation of 70% of your immune system, your brain chemistry, your metabolic function, and your long-term cancer defense. Now, let us compare. Competitor 1, yogurt. Yogurt is almost certainly the most familiar fermented food in the American diet, and it has an impressive scientific track record. Traditionally, fermented yogurt was more efficient than milk in decreasing insulin resistance in obese women with metabolic syndrome, potentially through a modulation of lipid metabolism, inflammation, oxidative stress, and shifting the composition of the gut microbiota. That is a meaningful finding. Yogurt does not just improve digestion. It actively shifts metabolic markers in ways that matter for adults over 50, particularly for those managing blood sugar, inflammation, or weight. And here is a specific finding that Dr. Lai's research framework highlights: Akkermansia mucinifera, a promising next-generation probiotic, increased in consumers of yogurt. Moreover, yogurt consumption was positively correlated with a healthier metabolic profile in terms of lower inflammation and serum lipid peroxidation. We talked about Akkermansia in the microbiome video. This is the bacterium found in abundance in people who live past 100. The bacterium that helps maintain the integrity of your gut wall. The bacterium that researchers have found to be associated with better responses to cancer immunotherapy. And yogurt consumption has been shown to increase it. That is a significant finding. Yogurt earns its reputation. But here is the critical detail about yogurt that most people do not know. Not all yogurt is equal. The yogurt that delivers these benefits is traditionally fermented yogurt with live active cultures, not the sweetened, flavored, heat-treated products that line most supermarket shelves. When yogurt is pasteurized after fermentation, which most commercial yogurts are, the live bacteria are killed. You get the nutrition of the milk, but not the probiotic benefit of the fermentation. Look for yogurt that says live and active cultures on the label. Plain, unsweetened, whole milk or Greek style. That is the version that does the work we are discussing. If you want to add sweetness, add fresh berries, which also feed your beneficial gut bacteria. 2 defense systems working together in one bowl. Competitor 2, sauerkraut. Sauerkraut, Fermented cabbage is one of the oldest fermented foods in the Western world. And from a microbiome diversity perspective, it has some remarkable properties. The microbial diversity of sauerkraut far exceeds that of dairy-based ferments, and it contains the largest numbers of potential health-promoting gene clusters. That is a striking finding. More diverse microbiota means more potential health benefits across a broader range of biological functions. Sauerkraut does not just deliver one or two bacterial strains. It delivers a complex, diverse ecosystem of beneficial microorganisms. Both pasteurized and non-pasteurized sauerkraut improved IBS symptoms and altered gut microbiota. Even pasteurized sauerkraut showed benefits, though the live culture, unpasteurized version is clearly superior for probiotic purposes. And here is something that connects sauerkraut directly to Dr. Lai's framework on cancer defense. Sauerkraut is made from cabbage, a cruciferous vegetable. And cruciferous vegetables contain compounds called glucosinolates, which break down into sulforaphane and other cancer-fighting molecules during digestion. We talked about sulforaphane in the immunity video, the compound in broccoli sprouts that made a flu vaccine 22 times more effective. Fermented cabbage retains many of these compounds. In fact, fermentation may actually enhance the bioavailability of some of them. So sauerkraut is not just feeding your gut bacteria. It is also delivering anti-angiogenic, immune-activating compounds from the cabbage itself, multiple defense systems from one food. The critical rule for sauerkraut is identical to yogurt. Buy it refrigerated, not shelf-stable. Shelf-stable sauerkraut has been heat-treated and the live bacteria have been destroyed. The beneficial version is found in the refrigerated section of most grocery stores, usually in a jar. The ingredient list should be simple: cabbage and salt. Nothing else. Competitor 3. Kimchi. Kimchi is the most complex of the three. It is not one food. It is a category of fermented vegetables, with hundreds of regional variations across Korea. The most common version is made from fermented Napa cabbage, with garlic, ginger, chili peppers, and other seasonings. And from a nutritional standpoint, that complexity is an advantage. Fermented kimchi intake yielded considerable and positive changes in the gut microbiota, including increases in bifidobacterium and lactobacillus, while reducing the harmful Clostridium perfringens. Bifidobacterium and lactobacillus are two of the most well-studied beneficial bacterial genera in gut health research, increasing them while simultaneously reducing a potentially harmful bacterium. That bidirectional effect is what makes kimchi particularly powerful. But here is what makes kimchi stand apart from both yogurt and sauerkraut in Dr. Lai's framework: the additional ingredients. Garlic. Dr. Li has specifically identified garlic as one of the most studied anti-cancer foods in history, with potent anti-angiogenic properties. When garlic ferments inside kimchi, its bioactive compounds, particularly allicin, become more bioavailable and more stable. Ginger. Anti-inflammatory, with documented effects on immune function and gut motility. Fermented ginger may have enhanced bioactivity compared to raw ginger. Chili peppers contain capsaicin, which has been shown to have anti-angiogenic properties and to support beneficial gut bacteria. Kimchi increases dietary fiber intake, which acts as a prebiotic, feeding the beneficial bacteria it also introduces. It is simultaneously probiotic and prebiotic, delivering live bacteria and the fuel those bacteria need to thrive. And then there is the Korean population data. Korea has remarkably low rates of certain cancers, particularly stomach and colorectal cancer, compared to Western countries. While diet is complex and many factors contribute to health outcomes, the consistent, lifelong consumption of kimchi and other fermented foods is considered by researchers to be one contributing factor worth taking seriously. So which one wins? Here's the honest answer. And I want to be precise rather than just give you a simple ranking. For metabolic health, blood sugar management, and Akkermansia growth, yogurt with live cultures has the strongest direct evidence. If you are managing your weight or blood sugar after 50, yogurt is your priority. For gut microbiome diversity, sauerkraut wins. More diverse bacterial strains, more potential health-promoting gene clusters, with the added bonus of cruciferous vegetable compounds. If your primary goal is building a more complex, resilient gut ecosystem, unpasteurized sauerkraut is the highest value option per serving. For overall defense system activation, kimchi wins. The combination of fermented vegetables plus garlic, ginger, and chili creates a food that simultaneously works on your microbiome, your angiogenesis defense, your immune system, and your inflammation levels. It is the closest thing to a fermented Grand Slam food in this category. But here is the real answer that Dr. Li's framework points toward. Do not pick one. Rotate all three. As Dr. Li explains, substances produced in the gut by bacteria can travel or send signals up large nerves, such as the vagus nerve, directly to the brain, triggering different brain activities that can alter mood, behavior, memory, and cognition. The more diverse your fermented food intake, the more diverse your gut microbiome. The more diverse your microbiome, the stronger and more resilient your gut-brain axis, your immune system, and your disease defenses. The goal is not to find the single best fermented food and eat it exclusively. The goal is diversity, variety, rotation. Yogurt with breakfast on Monday, sauerkraut with lunch on Wednesday, kimchi with dinner on Friday. That rotation, consistent and varied, is what the science actually supports for building a genuinely robust gut microbiome after 50. Now, I promised you a fourth option, and I want to make sure you hear this before the video ends. Kefir. Kefir is a fermented dairy drink made by fermenting milk with a complex culture of bacteria and yeasts. And from a probiotic diversity standpoint, it is arguably the most powerful fermented dairy food available. Current clinical evidence on kefir consumption indicates a supportive role in glycemic control and metabolic health. Both meta-analyses and individual interventional studies report improvements in markers, such as fasting blood, glucose, insulin, HOMA, IR, and blood lipid concentrations. Kefir typically contains a more diverse range of bacterial strains than yogurt, often 12 or more different species in a single serving. It is also lower in lactose than regular milk, making it more tolerable for people with mild lactose sensitivity, if you can find it. And it is increasingly available in mainstream grocery stores. Plain, unsweetened kefir is worth adding to your rotation alongside the three we compared today. Let me leave you with the practical protocol. Buy one new fermented food this week. Just one. If you have never eaten kimchi before, start there. It is widely available in most grocery stores now, in the refrigerated Asian food section. If kimchi is too strong for your palate at first, start with sauerkraut. If you already eat yogurt, check the label. Make sure it says live and active cultures. Make sure it is plain, and consider adding berries instead of the sweetened versions. And remember what Dr. Li tells us about feeding your gut bacteria. You have 39 trillion of them. They cannot produce the good stuff, the anti-inflammatory compounds, the immune signals, the brain supportive chemicals, if you are not feeding them properly. Every fermented food you add to your diet is a deposit into the most important biological account you have. Tomorrow on Thrive After 50, we are going deeper into one of the most surprising findings in Dr. Li's research. We are going to talk about blueberries and what happens to your natural killer cells, the cancer-hunting assassins of your immune system, when you eat them before and after exercise. The numbers from the research are extraordinary. Subscribe so you do not miss it. I will see you tomorrow. All content is for educational purposes only and is inspired by the published research of Dr. William Li and the Angiogenesis Foundation. Thrive After 50 is an independent educational channel and is not affiliated with, endorsed by, or officially connected to Dr. William Li in any way. Always consult your own physician for personal medical advice.